is this an effective piece of propaganda? Like, given what you've learned about
Show me this. So this
Sure.
this is the down to the countryside one. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see, I have, so this is the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I think this is kind of a good candidate if we wanted to do that, like moving from the innocuous to the sinister kind of thing. So this is a really cheerful, happy image.
Right.
There's no killing,
Yeah.
there's no destruction. Look how happy they are.
Yeah. So we're moving away. So just resituating myself in the lesson.
Yeah.
So we've just done the Uncle Sam, and now I'm feeling like, whoa, I've got all these thoughts churning in my head about propaganda and all that stuff.
Yeah. So the setup for this.
The setup for this would be Mm-hmm.
So okay, I'm gonna show you a different propaganda poster. So
Yeah.
it's the same medium,
Yeah.
but it's part of a different campaign.
Yeah.
So show them the image,
Yeah.
and then say, this looks like a pretty cheerful, happy image, right?
It sure
You know,
does.
it's like,
Oh, you can even ask them
this
what's the
seems-
tone. Yeah.
Sure, yeah, as a frame. What's
Yeah.
the tone of this image? All right, this seems pretty cheerful and happy, right? Now, I'm not sure how much foreshadowing I want to do,
Okay.
but after doing a little bit of framing, I think the task for this is to, skills-wise, like, so contextualize this poster, so figure out what this was produced for, and
How would they do that?
so they would read through that. The activity would be the same, right? So they would read through the different slides about the evolution, these different campaigns in the Cultural Revolution,
Mm-hmm.
and then they would see this poster, right?
Mm.
So which campaign was this one like a part of?
Mm-hmm.
What was going on,
Mhm.
and then what are the techniques it uses to achieve that goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thesis writing thing, that could be the overall activity, right? That would be geared maybe a little bit more towards claim writing in general rather than thesis over. We're a little into the weeds with that, but we can come back to that later. So the goal is still to produce an overall, like a single sentence,
Mhm.
right? That we would then assess and do that activity about at the end. But
And it would be answering just one more time the question that you'd want them to be answering.
yeah, so now it's spun a little bit differently,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
it's more geared towards a single poster rather
Right,
than
yep,
the change
Yep,
of continuity.
Yep.
Like something like, is this poster as effective as the Uncle Sam poster, or something like that? That could be a comparative one. A more general one for this is this an effective piece of propaganda, drawing your knowledge of the context and techniques in this poster to support your answer, like something like that.
Yeah. I mean, first they'd have to know like what is this poster trying to do? Like
Yeah.
Or you could say like, does the tone match the goals or something like that?
Yeah.
No, you're not so into that one.
No, I was just thinking about it as a possibility. Does the tone
Yeah.
of this poster match the goals? Yeah,
I'm only latching on to your having started with noticing the tone, so I don't know if that's
like, what's a question that gets at like what's really going on beneath the smiling, happy?
because that's what you were doing with
Facade.
Uncle Sam.
Yeah, what's the real like?
Yeah.
What's the hidden message? of
Right,
this?
and I think that was what you were trying to have them really pull apart with the Sam thing, is that this everyday innocuous sort of guy,
Yeah,
pointing-
we all know who this is.
yeah,
it's
exactly.
familiar.
What is, yeah, and in order for them to do that, I think so if your activator exercise, which is the Uncle Sam, uses this move, and this move, the main course of the class should use the same set of moves.
Yeah.
So
And then, to answer that, like I want students to understand, this is like, what's the bigger story? Like where does this fit into the story
Right,
of the Cultural
right.
Revolution? So
Right.
they've just spent 3 years urging the youth to, smash the enemies and, denounce the traitors and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And things have totally gone off the rails. Schools haven't been in session for 2 years to
Mhm.
produce this.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have to get rid of these crazy kids. Like this is going off the rails. We have to regain control.
Yeah.
And we're going to get rid of them by shipping them out to
Mhm.
the countryside.
Mm-hmm.
And they have this incredibly happy, like a summer camp
Yeah.
poster
Right.
for this.
Right.
So
So it's basically
I
how are we
want
going to
to-
get these mischievous kids on a train willingly
yeah,
to go off to the wherever terrible desert place to
Yeah. and then for this one, I mean, for the techniques, like, okay, what's the perspective? Like, what's the relation between you as the viewer and the image, right?
Mhm.
So perspective is a key tool in this one.
As they should know from the Uncle Sam piece.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Color.
use of the color red, right? So like this is still fulfilling our communist objectives and all the cultural connotations of red in Chinese culture as well.
The symbol of the book, the red book.
Yep, the facial expressions, so they could compare and contrast with Uncle Sam. You know, war, this is serious business. You know, you have a serious responsibility here. Versus, this is going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
You guys are going to have a great time. Get to go with your friends too, right? The difference between one figure versus two.
Right. So you're anticipating the kid would get into this exercise, that question. So it was just one. That was a very interesting question. What's the facade and what's going on beneath the facade?
Yeah.
Kind of question.
A question that would, like, they would have to get both the context and the techniques.
Right.
To be able to, like, that's the kind of, like, what I'm talking about, like, the overall question.
You're anticipating them getting into that more.
Yeah.
Why? What about that would get them into this more than saying, here's 3 posters, tell me, do these posters represent change or continuity over time?
They could do a much better job with one poster, getting deeper into one content piece than they can with 3.
Definitely.
3 is a lot, and these are busy images.
Yeah.
There's a million things to even the ones that are kind of simple are actually not that simple.
Yeah.
And there's so much to think about. So like by using one content piece rather than 3, it's like they're really good at noticing superficial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They are less good at leveraging that into deeper, like, so what kind of thing. So if I give them like a regurgitate, what are 5 techniques that this poster uses? Ding, 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 right? Really easy. But the follow-up discussion might kind of suck.
Yeah.
Because there's not like deeper thought that's being called for. I'm just being asked to list some stuff that I see. They can do that in their sleep at this point. It's pretty boring for them for me.
Right.
So having one of these things where like there's like a whole story behind this. There's like a hidden story that we're going to try to figure out.
That's the question. Yeah, what's the hidden story? What's the story here? Yeah.
So like having them decode like the kind of hidden messages in this poster. The hidden tech, like coming back to the mind control thing, like why might this poster, if you were a young Chinese person, a 20-year-old Chinese student in 1968, would this poster be an effective form of mind control for you? Like something like that. I know that's like a question that's a little bit fraught. Like there are some pitfalls to asking that kind of question or assumptions or whatever. But
so why would you ask it? Yeah.
So again, the empathy piece. So like, and it's also a question that asks you to think about, well, what was going on in '68? Like what might a 20-something have been, spending the last 2 years doing? Right? So it gets you into the story and what was being asked of the youth by the party.
Yeah.
But then it also gets you thinking about, okay, where am I now in 1968? What's this poster trying to tell me and why? And then how is it trying to get me to do the thing that the government wants me to do?
Right. It is super interesting. I think what you're getting at is so important. And I think you're exactly right. All those reasons the kids would get into it. And I think you're also right to be concerned that in the backs of their minds, the kids are thinking to themselves, well, I'd never fall for that crap. Like, come on. Like, what's the matter with these people that they would fall for that? And ultimately, that's the work of the historian, is to figure out why was this such an effective, and that's coming back to the original question. I think the other reason it would work so well, as opposed to asking them to do a continuity change over time piece, which is the original lesson that we came up with, and this is now, it's dawning on me now, is that was asking them to do the change or continuity exercise that you asked them to do, to call on a different set of skills and moves than you had originally asked them to make in the activator exercise. So the goal of the activator is to teach them, okay, here are the sets of skills and moves you want to make, and then the next step, the main course lesson, should ask them to take the same moves and steps, but amp it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Make it a little more challenging, make it a little more of a puzzle, and then And
I think the added challenge here is the context piece.
Yeah.
So demonstrating their understanding of what was happening, like what had happened in the Cultural Revolution by 1968.
Yeah.
And then how might that context explain the goals and techniques used in this poster.
Yeah.
And
right.
then as a follow-up,
Yeah,
why am
that
I should fall for it?
Yeah, exactly. And I love that at the end, and that could be a great summarizer question. So this is fabulous, and I love the new exercise. So I guess the question is like, what would help to, to like what's the lesson here in this discussion? To like, how do you catch yourself the next time you find yourself? So, and it'll be for me too to be thinking about this because we lesson plan together a lot.
Yeah.
Like what are some of the takeaway from this discussion that for next time will be sort of like a red flag saying, whoa, you're doing something that may not work here. Let's get back to something.